I'm going to give you 3 things that you should do and 3 things that you shouldn't do in your last week before closing. On the should do's, number 1, you should communicate with all parties. Yes, most likely you will have a real estate professional advising you and helping you, but take it upon yourself to communicate with your lender, if you have one, with the escrow and title company, and obviously your realtor as well. Your realtor will handle majority of your timeline pieces, but don't just rely on them. Okay, so make sure you are calling those people, so you are making sure that they have all documents, that you're meeting deadlines, and that you're on track for the closing date. Especially if you are relocating from out of town, you have moving companies, you have possibly cars being shipped. You want to make sure you're on that timeline for closing. So 2 days before closing, we're missing documents or whatnot, and then you have to push closing out, then everything becomes super stressful. Okay, so make sure you communicate with your parties. Number 2 is setting up your utilities beforehand. Typically, you should be able to call your county or your city, and they can help guide you in the right direction with setting up your sewer, water, gas, electric, trash as well. So, and new builds will often have an HOA that will help do that for you, but make sure you have those utilities set up so when you show up, you have running water, you have electricity, your trash cans may already be there for you, so you don't have to stress about that once you get into the property. And then number 3 is get a list from the seller or the builder for the property. So if it's a seller that had lived in the home, get warranties from them on their appliances, warranties on the HVAC and whatnot, and maybe just a list of what to do in the house, where the shutoff valves, certain things in the property that you're going to want to know rather than guessing when you're in there. And then the builder will typically do the walkthrough with you and show you these things, and then obviously give you a list of items that the builder, or based on the appliances, what the supplier will warrant up to a certain amount of time. So make sure you get those things. And then 3 things you shouldn't do is overspend and open up additional lines of credit right before closing escrow. I've seen this before. I've had this happen to other clients. I'm going through obviously the purchase right now, and we're about a day away from closing. And I need a washer dryer. I need a refrigerator. I need, couches, beds, whatnot. But I'm still not buying those things because I don't want to spend on a credit card right now, just in case. And especially opening up another line of credit, the lender monitors these things, and those things could affect you depending on what your situation is and your debt to income and whatnot. So you don't want a last minute ping on your credit, and then things could go sideways at the end. So make sure you close, or call your lender and ask them if you can purchase these things. Okay, yes, on a credit card, probably not, but if you have extra funds available, sure, but double check with your realtor, or your lender most likely will give you the best idea if you could buy certain things or not. Number 2 is putting anything in the house prior to closing escrow. You don't want to show up 2 days before closing and you start filling up the house with items. Okay, it's just not a good thing to do because you don't own the home yet. Okay, you don't want to put specific items in there and then God forbid something happens. Okay, it puts the seller liable, could put you liable. Just don't put anything in there. Understand, if you are relocating from a different state like me, just be on top of the moving company, pods or whatever you're shipping there. Just communicate with them and make sure those things are there at the day of closing, or even a day after. That way no issues come about trying to get things into the property, unless you have some type of agreement in place prior to closing. And then the last thing is just don't stress. Okay, moving alone is stressful. Packing up or relocating from another state, like myself, it is a stressful process. okay? But if you just follow the timeline and rely on those around you, your realtor, your loan officer, title and escrow, just make sure you communicate with those people through through that timeline, and in that last week, really staying on top of the timeline itself, and text whoever necessary to make sure you are meeting each specific guideline and timeline for that week. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. Like I said, my name is Connor Hornsby. I am moving to Dallas, Texas, and I close in 1 day. So I am doing these exact things, and I appreciate you all for following me during this time. And please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all soon.